And suddenly there was with the angel a multitude of the heavenly hosts, praising God and saying, "Glory to God in the highest heaven, and on earth peace among those whom he favors." When the angels had left them and gone into heaven, the shepherds said to one another, "Let us go now to Bethlehem and see this thing that has taken place, which the Lord has made known to us." So they went with haste and found Mary and Joseph and the child lying in the manger. This is the third and final appearance of an angel in the Christmas story. Remember, first we have the angel that appears to Zechariah in the Holy of Holies. Then we have the angel Gabriel that appears to Mary in her home. And last but not least, we have the angel and the heavenly hosts that appear to the shepherds at their place of work in the middle of the night. Now, angels, of course, we know in the stories represent the divine and are oftentimes called the divine messengers. In one of my favorite authors, Amy Jill Levine's book, Light of the World, she says this. She says the divine messenger can be anywhere, in a religious institution, in a home, or even in an open field. In other words, God and God's work is all around us if we but slow ourselves down long enough to look up and pay attention. These shepherds play an important role in our story for several reasons. Now, most importantly, they have symbolic value. We can imagine that they are out at night tending their flocks of sheep. These are pure white sheep, and we'll later know that these sheep are the ones used in the Passover sacrifice by faithful Jews later in the year. Now, this was Luke's way of introducing the idea of sacrifice, both figuratively and literally. First, we have Jesus, God incarnate born, and then we have the sheep that are out in the field with their shepherds that are going to be the ones later sacrificed for Passover. But the symbolic value of the shepherds goes even deeper than just the story of the sheep. It helps us contrast the main antagonist of the story, Caesar Augustus, to the role of the shepherd. Now we know that wherever the dominion of Rome found itself, its taxes, its power, its influence took over mostly the needy in their community. And so the shepherds represent for us the ability to protect the most vulnerable, that which the powerful Rome and Caesar Augustus cannot do. So this inclusion of the shepherds in the Christmas story points us back to the fact that God came incarnate for both the rich and the poor, for both the powerful and the vulnerable, but that God is a God that protects the vulnerable and those most on the fringes. This is good news. To the individuals in that society in those days who the powerful had forgotten about, those on the fringes like the shepherds, this is good news. Now, in our Christian mindset, if we've grown up in the church, we oftentimes look at good news as simply salvation, as simply that which we can look forward to after we die. But salvation in this story is so much more than that. You see, good news does not just come from the seed of earthly power or those with money and influence. Good news in this story is that it is universal, and it brings joy, great joy, for all people. So after hearing from the divine messengers, the great cloud of witnesses that are there in this story, and realizing that God is in fact with them, even them, the shepherds in the field decide to run with haste to meet this holy family. And so my question for you today to ponder is, what have you found lately that is good news? Where have you seen our God at work, protecting the vulnerable and bringing great news and great joy to all people? Because that is where the salvation really is, in the here and now. Of course, we have salvation to look forward to in the end, but in the here and now, this is what God means by good news. You don't have to wait until death to experience it, because it's happening here every day, all around us, if we slow down long enough to look up and to pay attention. Have you seen it? Have you heard it? Are you living into that good news of great joy for all people today?